So, great. Let me make sure everything's okay. So, welcome back to Human Resource Management. This is week 5. We are not only reviewing the idea of employee training and orientation, but we're reviewing how people select employees, how they manage that process with the software and technology, the idea of questions. In week 3, we went through how to develop a resume, how to develop the cover letter, how to plan for the different activities you're going to be going through, different questions and answers you need to already have prepared together with your resume, together with maybe a portfolio or some things you're going to have to show the company before you prepare that, before you go into the interview. That's all for the week 3 recruiting employees. And then we had the human resource planning. And then the very first week, we're just introducing everything. So this week, I wanted to, number 1, start with seeing if you guys have questions, or as we understand, a big part of this task is the overall idea of how you can go from whatever your current situation is up to your idea of long-term life success. What are your long-term goals? Don't just do one task for several years like university and then hope to start thinking of something later after you graduate. You should, whether you like it or not, multitask. Think about getting those things almost every day. Make, as we see down here, the 5 minutes daily, make plans, especially for, if we get into it, this is the Stephen Covey's, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He has another book called First Things First. In the First Things First book, he has become super famous for making a Q4 time management details. So you should work on things that are very, very important, but not urgent. And I would guess every one of you, your long-term career is super important, but maybe not urgent today. But this book says you're supposed to focus on that today. How? And then we went through the introduction. The class requirements is to go beyond just the student work and start looking at how you can use your student work for your long-term plans. Research these companies you want to work with. Always try to learn more about where you want to get involved. And at the same time, even if this is your dream company, always look at what are the bigger, the global companies in the world. What are they doing? And what can you learn from to help your local company? And how can you interact? For example, these trillion-dollar top companies, what is it, 1% of the world owns something like more than 40% of the planet. And the top, I think it's the top 10% own more than 60% of the planet now. So learn from those successful people. How did they become successful? Those successful organizations, for example, many of them are so big they have to give money away just so they look like they care, and you can use those grants. So with that said, we have Tobias being very efficient, and Solinda and Ozbeg. Do either of you guys, since you have a custom class, have anything you'd like to share to get your 15 points for your weekly project? Or do you have questions or comments related to class? Anything special you'd like to review? Because this class, it's just a review, helping you prepare, helping you understand the importance of everything. Any questions from you?
When you say a weekly project, what are you talking about? Are you talking about
Week 5. Week 5 is this week, where everybody is supposed to make a research project. And in week 3, you introduced why does the world need to care about it? Why is that important? And now you need to be a specialist. You need to be able to know how to talk to anybody, like employers, telling these employers or anybody else in the world what the world is saying about it. Who's important? Who's the Einstein? Who's the Barack Obama? Who's the Donald Trump saying crap? How can you identify what is good and what is bad about your area of specialization? And specifically, you want to tie it all together so you can get all of this research to tailor it for a company. Some of my students in the past have sold their papers to companies. That's what I mean. Is that clear? So Linda?
Yes.
Okay. How about, where is it? If that's super clear, how about I quiz you and talk to you about this. What does this mean? Why did I show this? You can see my screen now, right?
Yes, we can see.
Can you tell me maybe 1 or 2 reasons why did I waste your time talking about this in class?
Maybe these are the companies which give grants for students, as you write down.
Absolutely, yes. It's not just these companies. These are some of the biggest companies in the world, more than $2 trillion, yes. But you don't need $1 trillion to give money away. Anybody that has, hundreds of thousands of dollars, somebody else is going to think you're rich. And so you might want to start thinking about giving back. Not, if you are rich, great, buy me a present. That's a joke. You're not supposed to. But if you are wealthy, you may be already thinking about giving money to somebody away. So think of that for the big picture. You are using your time in school for many months or years. HR manages that, right? That whole idea of the company's public image. That's a big part of not just marketing and the PR department, but that's HR also. HR needs to train all of the staff so that staff don't go out to the news media and tell them a lot of bad things. You're supposed to keep people happy and keep people developing. And the grants are yes. Sometimes people just give small grants. What is the average size of grants? Anybody remember that? When you talk about these huge companies giving grants, all of these normal big companies, what is the normal size of grants? You see the CEO normally makes more than 300 times more than the average worker, not the minimum paid, the average worker, more than 400 times more. But when you do apply for a grant, when you apply for money, usually it's a corporate social responsibility grant, a company grant, HR related. It's just 400 words. 100 words, describe your organization. So for you students, you would describe KMM University or KMM University and some other small company you're trying to grow. And then 100 words, describe those engaged in the project along with their qualifications. So today, we're supposed to be talking about your qualifications. Tobias, if you filled out this line here, list those who will be engaged in the project along with their qualifications. So this is your grant, you are developing it, and you're going to give it to the Ford car company. What would let's just skip 100 words. Let's just say the top 10. Who would you talk about?
I'd probably, if it's my paper that I do for this course, I'd probably mention you as a professor.
So that what one person in this grant application is Professor Sean Watts, maybe?
Yeah.
But that's your choice. I'm not I'm not pushing you to do that, but that's your choice. Okay. What is another, wouldn't you put your own name on it?
Yes, my name and the group member's name, I think.
So your group
Yeah.
member, let's say, is Solinda and Ozdebek and Tobias. Okay, so that's 4 people. Anybody else?
Maybe I'd try and get some teaching assistants on board. I don't know.
A teaching assistant. Okay, good. Anything
Yeah.
else? So the question was, this is a grant application. Number 1, the first question was, if you're going to use it for almost any company, how much is this worth? And this shows usually it's between $300,000 to $1.3 million. Those are popular grant amounts. So what would you write about who is engaged in the project and their qualifications? And I've heard Professor Watts, Tobias, Solinda, Ozdebeg, and maybe Ms. Hua, the teaching assistant. Anything else, Tobias, before I get your classmates to try
Maybe
evaluating that?
I'd try to get in contact with some of the companies, so like via LinkedIn or something. I'd research who's like in their company, who's in this field that I want to research about. Maybe I can get some of them on board with my project, and I would list them.
So you would check Hyundai. You're interested in helping or working with Hyundai. You would get a Hyundai worker to join also. Great. So Linda, please be clear. I'm not saying Tobias's comments are good or bad. When I said great, I'm just saying thank you. Now be quiet. So Linda, if you were the director in the Ford Foundation company and you understand your job is to give away how much? How much did Bill Gates give to his foundation? He has more than $100 billion. Do you know how much he put into a foundation to give away?
No, I don't know.
He's giving 50 billion, 40 to 50 billion dollars is in an organization just for the purpose of supposedly giving it away. Ford Foundation gives more than $25 million away every year. So your job, Solinda, is the manager to manage all of those resumes, to manage all of those applications, to manage all of those grants and check. So if you see Tobias's project, let's say the problem that he's fixing, it's a great idea. And the purpose of his project, great idea. So the last 200 words, great. And let's just skip over the organization now. Let's just check who is going to get the money. What are you going to think about, Solinda, when you have millions or billions of dollars you have to give away? And Tobias told you it's going to me, Tobias, a different student named Solinda, and Uzbek, and Ms. Hua, and somebody from another big famous company. What would you think?
Sorry, but I don't really understand.
Good. Thank you. Tell me more. If you don't understand, please don't be quiet in class. Uzbek, do you understand what the question is?
Yes, Professor, I understand.
Could you try answering that?
Yes, maybe Tobias will be weak candidate for this foundation or taking this grant because he's listing not qualified persons except you. We are students and we have not got much experience or special skills to do. Maybe it's good to mention some of the people who write popular or reliable articles. It's my opinion.
Good. So thank you. Tobias, can you summarize what Uzbek just said?
Yes, I think he said that you should contact like people who are very famous in the field and whose articles you want to cite or whose articles you want to improve.
Well, the question that you're focused on now is list those people who will be engaged in the project and their qualifications. So I'm not sure what you mean by articles, but could you summarize what was it that we were saying might be a good idea to put in here again?
Yeah, like people who are famous in this field, like people who are famous in this field of research.
Now we're kind of talking. So why is this answer now different than your first answer? The first answer was your answer from just your heart and your mind. The second answer, completely different, is from the mind of a target person. And they're both doing the same job. They're both writing or focusing on list people engaged in the project and the qualifications. And for you to be successful for your resume, for you to be successful applying for a job, for you to be successful getting an interview, it doesn't matter what's in your mind. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter what you have in your pocket or who you're connected to. The only thing that matters is what's in the mind or heart of the person that's going to make the decision, right? So don't make the resume for you. Don't make the job application for you. Make that resume to make that job manager happy. Who cares if you love your dog's pink bow tie and coloring his hair every Saturday, right? Who cares if that's your hobby? You only talk about that if that is the hobby of the hiring manager, which I doubt will be important anyway. So let's look back at this grant again. This paper, it's not for you. If you are lucky, you will get benefit out of it, but it's not for you. You're going to send this to one of Bill Gates' hundreds of managers. One of the managers managing grants has to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, going through hundreds, thousands of these applications. If he gets an application from a student, what is a student? A student generally is a young person with little experience that's trying to learn the basics of life. I'm not trying to insult you. That's what old people might think. So if the old grant manager sees a young person with no experience asking for $1 million or $100,000, and he has 1,000 other applications, do you agree with me that your application, they're not going to read anything else? That's just, you're going to go into the file that goes into the garbage can. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So one more time, I'm not going to ask Tobias, but Solinda, if you, Tobias said that you are working on this project with him. So now this is your project. What do you suggest we should put in this second 100 words area when you list the people who will be engaged and active and who's going to manage the project along with their qualifications? So what would you put here? Tobias said me and you and Tobias and Özbek and the TA and somebody from a famous company.
I don't think that it's a good idea to put a student with no experiences.
Good.
I'm okay to put you because you have a good resume, okay. A lot of experiences. I don't think that the manager would like to see someone like me with no experiences. They will be not confident.
Okay, let's try to be positive. What can you put? Who should you put? So Linda, who else could you put if you're going to replace you?
A marketing teacher.
Good. Okay, another marketing teacher. So I'm one teacher, you have another teacher. Okay. Anybody else? Uzbek and Tobias, Celinda, work together. How can you build a successful application? This is a job application. This is a grant application. This is a corporate social responsibility grant application, but a job application is the same thing. It's the same process. You must forget what's in your mind, forget your abilities, and only think, what does that manager that's going to read it think about? So work together now. What do you need to say to put in here? I heard one teacher, me, another teacher from marketing. What else? And qualifications. More importantly, why? Why do you choose those people, whoever they are?
Or maybe I want to have a big name on it, so someone they recognize. So I try to maybe find a CEO or something like that in this field. Like I want to research about, I don't know, electric vehicles or something like that. I try to find someone who is like very high in this field, high ranked.
Okay, you see this screen I'm showing you now? You said CEO, and this video is talking about how CEOs are stupidly rich, are crazy rich. They're making generally 400 times more money than a normal worker is making. They're making 400 times more than the normal person, not the minimum paid. So do you really want another super rich person on it? Isn't Bill Gates, if you put Jeff Bezos on, isn't Bill Gates just going to say, what are you talking about? Go talk to Jeff.
Well, I wouldn't say a CEO of kind of that big company. I think it's different with CEOs of like smaller companies. Like, yeah, someone who's also renowned in his field, like a hidden champion or someone like that. So
okay, so a small local company, good. Or a poor company CEO, good. Or a poor country growing CEO, but still in a poor country, good. Why do I say poor country? Why don't we just say Korea? Any idea about that?
Because any student from around the world can apply for this application, I think.
Okay. Yes, anybody can. What I'm trying to get you to remember is the person in this big multinational company giving away millions of dollars or billions of dollars sometimes, what they're trying to do is, some people say they're trying to help the world. What a lot of the reality is they have so much money, they're trying to stop the poor people from protesting about how they have too much money. So they're trying to keep the society happy by just showing society they're helping other people. They're giving money to other people. As long as they give the other money away to help other people, then less protests and less headaches for the super rich $1 trillion company. Understand? So if you are working in a rich country, anybody working in a rich country, you could apply and you could qualify, but this guy is trying to give money away to anybody. You could be in Haiti or some poor country like Kenya or Nepal, and those countries, almost every company there is also poor, and they haven't learned the details of the wealthy, rich, developed countries. So if they give any money to this poor country, they're helping poverty. They're helping poverty alleviation. They're helping income inequality. They're helping global peace and harmony. It's better sometimes than just giving money away next door in the same area. Does that make sense? So when you are applying to your job, try to remember what the person cares about. And for grants, doesn't really matter the name of the person. You don't need to pick me. You should have on here what? What does the manager, the grant manager, want to see? He wants to see you're responsible, number one. How can you be responsible? You have a good, sound track record. You have a good history of doing good work. And if you have good qualifications, then you can use it wisely. That's number one. That should be clear, right? No questions about that, right? How can you be even better? You can get another person from another organization also working with it. Because when this company gives money away, or when the company gives a job out, the job applicant can cheat you. You guys have probably heard jobs are advertised and companies hire somebody or they interview somebody, and during the interview, the job applicant says, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Oh yeah, no, I can do that. No problem. But it's all lies. They don't know how to do it. They only know how to do it a little bit. And then you start working. As soon as you start working, in many countries, it's very hard to fire somebody. So if you give them a job, then it's really hard to fire them. And you've wasted a lot of money trying to do that. So one person, it's still dangerous. You should check the background of somebody, but for a grant, people don't usually check the backgrounds too much. But if you get another person from another reliable, responsible university that has a good history, that it means you're twice as reliable, twice as safe. Make sense, Tobias?
Yes.
So if you have two different universities, you're safer than one. If you have 2 or 3 universities from different countries, that means you're even safer, because it's very rare to have universities from different countries agreeing to work together to actually have criminal activities. That's almost impossible. So again, you're trying to satisfy that grant person. And Tobias, your idea of hiring a CEO, that's good. It's smart. What I have done in the past, for example, is go from very reliable, respected universities, working with other universities, going together on these projects, and I go into some of the places on the planet, places in the world that need help the most. They need to develop the most, and I find somebody in a good organization there. Do you know what a YMCA is? Anybody? Ozbek or Celinda or Tobias, do you know what a YMCA is? Something like a church, but it's more for social organizations or fitness. It's an organization, Young Men's Christian Association, it started as, but now it's just trying to help kids get out of poverty and get out of dangerous situations and help them develop. So I've worked with organizations in super, super poor environments, and I work with the manager of that YMCA in the grant application as well. And when I first started doing this, I didn't use my name. I was able to agree with some of the leaders of the university, use their name. They were going to agree to supervise me, check on me once a month. But the email address for correspondence, that was my email address. So all communications went through me, but it was for his name. That makes sense? Understand why, Tobias? Understand why, Celinda? Yes? No? Everybody asleep.
I think because they have a good history records, as you said. That's why.
You have to make sure if you're applying for something, you show you have a good history. If you have a bad history, your chances of getting success with your application are bad, right? And a student, maybe a nice student, but you just don't have a history, period. You're still really young. It's not a bad thing. It's just it's reality. If you do have a lot of experience, great, put it on. But if you could find somebody with more history, more reliability, more qualifications, it's probably better to use them. that is how the application system is created. And a grant is just one way of thinking about it. What we're talking about with the grants, it's the same thing for jobs. Many people want to get a job, they line up to get a job. Working with an employer, usually you don't line up, you don't start trying to get a job until you finish school. But why? That's not smart. You should be thinking every day, copying the most successful people. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they spend a significant amount of their time, usually more than 15 minutes to 30 minutes every day, just planning what they're going to do the next day. And those crazy rich people, they probably have a team, maybe 10 people hired just to plan what they're going to do each day. And then another huge team of, presidents, CEOs, and managers, things like that. But planning your details for the future is critically important. And so for your job applications, your employee training, start thinking about that. Even before workers start working for the company, you may want to give them a training manual. When you're orienting people, you should probably only hire people that are already partially oriented. Hire people that know about your company already. If they don't know about the company, they probably don't care. So that's obviously pretty important. And when you're selecting the employees, same thing. Don't just walk in and say, I have 100 points on my tests or my universities. Who cares? Does that Bill Gates manager care? If he has a requirement to hire 100 students, then yeah, maybe. But that's not the way it usually works. One job I've had working with Samsung and working with Applied Materials, which is a higher tech company training Samsung on how to manage technology, I had to hire almost 600 people in a summer. And part of what we were doing was just to impress Samsung. We wanted to show Samsung, we love Samsung so much, we're hiring these extra staff just to take care of Samsung. So we wanted to hire 600 was a good number. The other part was we were one of the richest companies in the world. And so we wanted to show CNN that we were trying to help. And so we were giving money back to interns and young students to train them. And so we were trying to train young students, not senior people that already had a lot of experience. And we were hiring mostly inside the country where we were trying to impress Samsung. Again, all of this was for a different company called Applied Materials, which is from USA. But it doesn't matter what USA thinks. It matters Samsung. Samsung's in Korea, you have to impress the Korean market. Samsung's in Korea, you probably have to hire Korean students to make them really happy. That's one of the reasons why we're doing it. So selecting the employees, think of the bigger game, the bigger picture, how it is involved. And now think of AI. How does AI come into this?
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Could I go? I have to meet the student for group project.
Sure.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. You can definitely go. Any one of you, the priority for you guys to get marks for class is to present your week 5 presentation. The more you present that, the more marks you can get. I suggest you focus on that. But other than that, I'm just trying to help you learn this material. You don't ever have to come to a class.
Sir, tomorrow I would like to present with Zephyr.
So?
About the references.
So have you written that in the Facebook group? Have you reserved your time for the class so that the class knows? Have you notified the TAs so they wrote it on the schedule? Those type of things would help you quite a bit. I suggest you make a note of that in the class Facebook group.
Okay, so I have to go to the Facebook group to tell. Okay.
Yes, the Facebook group for the class is Facebook groups/hrm.sw. Post your PPT file, post whatever you want to present into the Facebook group. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So with that said, Uzbek and Tobias, do you guys have any questions on how we can work with your resume and the thank you letters and things that you should be thinking about within the company if you're that HR manager or just as a student applicant? For example, possible questions. What would you guys like to talk about now, since you have a highly tailored class?
I have a question. If we have not much experience and we should write, we must write a little bit at least, what we should write in this section, work experience maybe?
Again, you need to figure out what does the company want to see. Let me just a second, make sure that you can see me clear. You can see me now, you can see my hands and stuff. This is you. You want to do these things, but what you want is not as important as what is more important. What is more important is that job manager, whoever is your target person you want to work with. If you're in HR, you need to impress the CEO or the managers of the company, or even your workers. You need to take care of them more than taking care of you. So if you say that your abilities are lower or not perfect, try to find any way that you can overlap so that there's something that you and this other person both share in common. And so these things is what you talk about, because these things will help that person. Let's say you don't have a university degree. What does Elon Musk say about degrees? He says they're not important anymore. So why does he say that? He says it because results are more important. If this guy wants to do these things, you need to find out what are these things. And a degree usually doesn't mean you can do this and nobody else can. So try to find out what that company wants and start developing something like that first. Research all of this, research the company, research that company manager, and start developing something to help him. Uzbek, let me finish this sentence. What am I going to show you? What is our class requirements? Very first PPT I ever showed you. What was your class requirements and why? What does this presentation talk about? It's the answer to your question. What is this picture showing? This picture. You are saying you want a job, but you don't have a university degree yet, or you don't have qualifications yet. So what? Students, they want a degree, and so they're working for many teachers, and they're writing papers. That's normal. But so what? This picture inside the green area, it's not really important. Life and the world and the job is usually the wise work that's outside of the green area. So find a company, find that worker, find out what he's trying to do, and make your paper for them. Start developing a paper for them. You start walking up to them, giving them a paper that, number one, not only is going to help them, but where's the next part? Here. You have this folder of materials. Like here is another folder of materials. This is a real student's folder. Let me show you this picture. You can see my screen now. This is $50 article. This is $50 about what is the flexible model of consumer perceptions. Here's another $50 article from one of the world's best minds, another $50. So this is $200, the world's best research, the world's best mind. We keep going through it. How many do we have here? We got a lot. And then you have one presentation. This one presentation is generally what you're supposed to be doing in week 5. Why? Why did I ask you to do that? It relates to getting a job too. Why is my class designed this way? Do you need a degree to get a job? Uzbek, do you think you really need a degree to get a job?
No.
So what about if you have this, and this is like $1,000 here or $10,000 here if you have a lot of them, and if you customize it and summarize all the important details for that job manager, then it's worth a lot more. You can put it up to like $20,000, or if you make a report and publish it for him, that could be worth even more money. So if you make it more like this, following the world's best, most respected style, this could be worth a lot more than a university degree. And if you do this, if you make this paper for a company, and if you have a lot of these valuable research for a company, do you have to apply for a job? Tobias, do you think you really have to apply for a job?
No, not really. If you come to them and you offer them something, they can take it or leave it, kind of. So yeah, I think you aren't really asking for a job, but you're asking like, do you want to hire me or not? So,
right. And do you think if this employer, if you're saying here's thousands of dollars of value, is this employer going to say, what is your qualification? Do you have a degree?
no, I think they'll mainly look at your PowerPoint where you present like what you did there. So probably that's the point of the presentation.
Don't tell my boss this. Don't tell the president of my university. I'm telling you this. I'm trying to teach you reality. And most people believe you have to have a university degree. So I see that there is value in getting a university degree. There's a lot of value. But I also see there are more important things in life, and we're trying to teach you. And HR is the whole idea of HR hiring people, the HR orienting a company and orienting new staff and training the company, training HR, training all staff, training new applicants. We need to think of the bigger picture. And so a university is just one part of that. And a university degree or a diploma or a certificate, that's just one part of that. Many people in the world would laugh at me if I say a degree or a certificate, or let me just make it simple. Many people in the world would laugh at me and say I'm crazy if I say pretty soon university degrees are not going to mean anything. They would think I'm crazy, but I could seriously argue that. And then if we understand a degree is big and important, and a diploma is usually a lower value, especially in North America. So if I say even a diploma will have more value than a university degree, but even then, eventually, the degree is going to lose its value and the diploma is going to lose its value. And then a 6-month course may have, or 1-year course may have more value than either of those. And even with that, Elon Musk doesn't care about any of that. He just cares you can show you know how to do something. You know how to create something of value. You have your own personal briefcase of something of value. So does that answer your question, Uzbek? Maybe I took way too many words, but you asked, what if I don't have a degree? What if I don't have qualifications? Did I answer your question?
Yes, Professor, perfectly.
Great. So can you show me your folder? Is it valuable now? And I don't care if it's valuable for you. I care whatever job you want in the future, whatever future success you want, is your folder holding many valuable files that will help that? Can you show me your folder next class so that you have many articles like this in it, who cares what your group mates do? You have teammates, who cares? You see also that this is just one part of it. You see this folder here? Can you read that, Özbek?
Yes, paper that would be replicated.
So what does that mean? What is this?
It's like copying or editing this article.
It is the world's, it's something you love, number one, but it is one of the world's most respected, most reliable, smartest styles of information. So if you love this, exactly, you come back and you make, I zoomed in too much. So you go back to here, your final paper and your final PPT. This is your final paper. Your paper, understanding, do you remember that last file I just sent you? The last file I showed you? It was talking about how people make a purchase decision.
Yes.
And this is the student's paper. This is the student's class paper. It looks almost exactly like that professional format. Why? Doesn't matter what's inside. If you show somebody that other professional paper and then show them yours, they're going to think you're related. They're going to think you are just as reliable, just as respected as theirs. The experts can argue, but that's one thing you should be thinking about. What is this other stuff here? This is their final project. So here is what we showed you. There's lots of articles. Then there's the replicated file. But then the most important stuff for the student is in here. What is this? Tobias, can you guess what this is?
Yeah, it looks like it's his end result, and then there's this application to apply for CSR grant. So we took it to the next level, I guess.
Okay. Section 1, abstract introduction. Here's the introduction. Section 2, what is the class, what are the details you're covering? Okay, and then the literature review. So it's following that style. So yes, this, what is this? This is a video. Why? I'm not requiring you to make a video. So why does the student have a video here?
Maybe if he wants to apply with that for a CSR grant or something like this, then it's maybe more professional to have a video and to be, or it's easier to send someone a video, and you don't even have to have an interview, because they can just watch a video, kind of like that.
Okay, let me give you another hint. You're right, you're absolutely right, but let me give you another hint. I have made class videos more than 10 years ago. Last year, one of my class videos from 10 years ago attracted one of the world's best universities in India to hire me to give lectures for them. And in 2017, 2018, the same thing. Some of my old videos on YouTube attracted different universities around the world to contact me, ask, would I be able to teach that for them? So again, what is a video for a student worth? Why would a student have that? You said it's easy to share. Great. And
it's likely to attract people from around the world.
yes. Where is my stuff? Should be here somewhere. I have resumes here somewhere I can show you, but in my resumes, even in the class outline, you can see these videos. I have a YouTube channel. So all of these videos that I make, even though you guys may not like them, maybe you guys don't think they're very important, maybe you just talk to me in class, I've been teaching for over 20 years, and there's many different videos there. what is an old-fashioned teacher doing? An old-fashioned teacher, he works, he gives the information to you. Soon as the 5 o'clock comes around, what time does our class finish today? I think it's probably already finished today. I don't know. But when our class finishes, old-fashioned teachers, their value has gone. It's disappeared. But if you can make it into a paper, the paper goes out to other world experts. Other world experts are going to be looking through papers, trying to learn something. Same thing. Anybody in the planet could be looking through YouTube videos to try to find something. And if they find something that you have made in the past, it could help you get a job. And it has worked for me several times. So you don't have to for class, but if you do it, I'll give you bonus points because I know it could help you. Don't just do that old-fashioned thing of working by yourself. There's here in the class for the classwork. Think of the bigger picture. And a video could help. A grant could help. A grant could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. You could hire world experts to come do your class project. I encourage many students to copy other CEOs, right? Part of this video was showing you some of the world's most successful people are crazy successful, crazy wealthy, crazy rich. And almost all of them have a team of people helping them. They have a team of secretaries, a team of researchers, a team of virtual assistants. So why don't you? Why don't you hire somebody if you get a grant, or even if you can afford it, if you can get a grant, hire somebody to help you do the project. Hire somebody to help you research for your future. Hire somebody to edit, to make sure your information is perfect, to make you look professional. Some of the best students I have, they work with editors from other countries and researchers from other countries. You may want to keep that in your mind too. Some professors say, oh, that's cheating. Is it? If Jeff Bezos does it, if Bill Gates does it, if Warren Buffett, if all top executives do it, why is it cheating? Am I not supposed to teach you in a business class to do that? So would you guys like to share your resume? I think I heard from Ozdebek that you don't have a resume, but Tobias, do you have a resume that you'd like to talk about today?
I do have one, and I could share it. Just give me a second. Kind of a difficult setup here, but yeah. Oh. I will go. Okay.
If it's,
No, you should be.
okay, yes, we can see your resume. Good.
Okay, yeah, so this is my resume. Yeah, it's in German because currently I'm only applying for German jobs. And I was actually successful with this CV. So I got an internship for next semester with that. Yeah, and it's about me. So it's like, yeah, topic, my contact details, my LinkedIn, and it's, yeah, my education, a university, and where I went to school. Then it's internships that I made. Those are only internships in the field of business that I want to get into. So my major is economics and engineering. So I only put my internships where I did something like that.
You're giving a lot. You're giving a lot of information. So let's try to take this apart piece by piece. Ozdebek and Hua or anybody else that's here. Can you guys pick this apart and analyze this? Number one, the first question I have is, again, who is this for? And for example, is the wording attracting that person that it's for? I'm not talking about the language. What is shown here? What are the words that Tobias just said? Is that attractive to a manager, or is it only attractive in Tobias's mind?
I think it is attractive both of them, but not much.
Okay, how? What is attractive? Because he's got a sexy picture, he's got more hair than I do?
No, no, of course. He has, there is practical, like experience, internship. It's more than which I imagined. That's why I think it's more valuable.
Okay,
I think the word student make his resume less attractive because
right, right. Who cares? Sorry, I shouldn't say that. More than 2 billion people in the world have almost no education. So there's 2 billion people living on less than $1 a day that may love to have any formal education. So those people would love to be around you. Tobias, are you looking to work for those type of people? Are you giving your resume to those people?
No, but maybe I have to say something about that, because this CV is like very typical. It's a very typical German CV, and in Germany, like lots of smaller companies, or like also even the high companies or the big companies, like the big car companies, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and stuff, they are often very strict about the format of the CV, and when you have like gaps in there, or you don't describe where you went to school or something like that, you just get kicked out.
Oh, I didn't say delete your education.
Yeah.
I see the third word here says neon lights, you are a student. Versus if you delete that and just say you are a young executive. Which one's more attractive?
Yeah, probably the young executive type, but I wanted to apply for a student internship, so that was kind of important.
Okay, let's say you're applying to be assistant manager at Volkswagen.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, then I'd probably put it as, yeah, I wouldn't write that I'm a student on the top.
Great. What is word number 2? Even though it's in German, what the first word we may delete was student and change it because that is for your mind. If you're applying for student, what did I say? Assistant manager of some big car company, Mercedes or Volkswagen or Porsche, whatever. What do they want to see? Not student, somebody with more experience. Great. What about what's another word you're kind of focused on that they might not appreciate as much as if you used a different word?
I'm not sure.
So Uzbek or Hua, do you remember any of the jobs he had or job titles? I remember only one. He said he had many of these. Practica. What's that generally talking? I can guess the meaning of it.
Yeah,
it's still an internship, right?
Yeah.
Why say internship? What is internship? Isn't internship work experience?
But I
Yeah, right. For that job that you're applying to be an intern, fine. But we're pretending, we're playing a game. You're applying to Volkswagen assistant manager. Do you need to? Do you have to say internship? Or could you just say work experience? Because work does not have to mean you were paid for it. And it does not have to mean it was a full-time job. Full-time work, part-time work, internship, there's no difference, right? It's work.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
And if you had all of those work experience as like a young executive, isn't that more attractive?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So the bottom line is, remember, what's in your mind is an obstacle you have to get over. You must understand what the other person is going to want or care about. And sometimes it's very hard, because I don't know how old you are, Tobias, but maybe if you're applying for assistant manager of Volkswagen, that guy might be 45 years old or 50 years old. So your 20-year-old culture and his 50-year-old culture could be very different, worlds apart. You need to forget your values and try to speak in the words and values in the language what he wants. And that's part of HR. You have to satisfy the executives of the company, number one, otherwise you're out of a job. And then you need to satisfy the workers of the company, number two. And what you want many times is the CEO doesn't care. The workers don't care. The CEO just wants more profit or more production or more results. The workers want, I don't know, more holidays or more benefits or something like that. What you care about is less important. The job of an HR manager or anybody that wants to be efficient should understand what is important is that mutual benefit. Find out who this person is, and connect them together. Especially now we start talking about AI. With AI, the class is almost finished, but AI, we don't care about color. We don't care about touchy-feely feelings and stuff like that. We just care about those words. So in any job, you're going to get the marketing manager of Volkswagen. He's going to say, we need to hire somebody with this. Find out what those keywords are and make sure those keywords are in your resume as many times as you can. And I guess that a marketing manager of Volkswagen is not going to have internship as a keyword.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
What about you, Hua? Do you have your resume, hopefully in English, and any keywords that you'd like to talk about?
I'm sorry, Professor, but I'd have to leave class now.
You
because
gotta
I
go
have
for
a
another class?
different class. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
we are finished. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. Bye.